How many different ways have you had to come up with today to deflect questions about either How I Met Your Mother or Many Saints of Newark?
You're the first one.
You're the first one on that. But I do want to say I love the energy you come in with, and you revitalize my attitude towards these things. And I just want to say thank you for coming in with a great bright light.
Well, I am the wind beneath your wings, Billy. I am here to inspire you and bring.
You could be my jack to what's the
Rose.
Rose.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you do complete me, both of you, and I guess
I'll be the Billies again.
Well, here's the first question: was it the cast, was it the genre, the writing, or all above that got you into this project, and you were like, "Let's do it"?
I mean, the people involved. I've also never read anything like it. I felt like it was really singular, and it got to explore all the things that are like a real blast to explore as an actor. It has sort of like meet scenes between like our divorce and me and Ray, and like trying to figure out our estrangement and trying to figure out who I am anymore. And then you also have this heightened world of this like high tech cube in the middle of the desert. It kind of checks all the boxes. Bill,
you want to add?
Yes, I agree with everything Cristin said, and Chris is probably going to get tired of this answer, but I'll still say it. The opportunity to work with Cristin Milioti again is all in my book. She's a delight to work with. I think the story itself is about love, and I love exploring that struggle of what it is to be in a relationship. I think also having a fully female run production team is one of the coolest things to be a part of. And not that like I'm like commending them in a sense of like, oh, good job, you're doing it. Like I've never experienced this, and to have such a powerful, strong group around me feels fucking fantastic, and that like I can rely on, and just wonderful people to work with. It's I'm so proud to be on that.
And just so you know, the questions I'm going to be asking are for both of you. I mean, you guys could just kind of go at it one at a time or whatever. I know this is kind of confusing the way they have this set up in some respects, but one of the best lines I think I've heard on television this year came from your show, and I'm going to just say it right now. I don't know what I want, but I know I don't want you. Such a freaking powerful line. I mean, how fun was that line? I mean, my goodness. That got me thinking, this show is not just about necessarily science fiction. It's not necessarily about glitz and glamour. It's really about empowerment. It's about women's choice, as far as I'm concerned. Do you guys want to comment on that regard, just how cool that line was?
Yeah, I mean, there are so many moments in this series that I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm getting to do this. But sort of like, actually something else you said, which we've talked about a little bit today, but sort of I really like that, like this show, when you get into it, you're like, oh, it's like a sci-fi dark comedy. And I think those two things are like sneaky ways into what it's the things that it deals with, which I love stuff like that. I love when like you're sort of, it's like a backdoor into things where you're like, oh, well, this wouldn't happen. This is like a chip in a brain. And look, it's like really funny. And like, oh my God, I'm looking at my own story. And I love that. But I also certainly loved that line too. And that was like it felt like a very like badass Kill Bill thing to say.
So I agree with what your comment on what this is. It's empowerment and all these things. Playing again, the counterpart to that is the toxic masculinity that successful men put on the world. I think it's important to have that balance to the empowerment of what she's going through. We also have to address that what the world has put on women in society, and like what they have to deal with, and like saying, hey, you got to look over this prince over here that is giving her the world is also a fucking asshole, or he's not even seeing her. It's always been from that perspective, and the fact that our show takes it from the other, I think it's so important. And I'm like so proud to be a counterbalance to Cristin's character story.
I mean, there's such a dichotomy between you two. I mean, Cristin is playing these lovable characters over the years. Lovable, we want to root for Cristin's character in this series. And Billy, your characters are always a dick. I mean, is that kind of, I mean, that's kind of weigh on you a little bit, man. You're always and it's kind of hard for me to say that because you're so nice.
I disagree, though. I think, like, for Byron, right? Like, I think one of the things that Billy does that's so, it's like, is so special about what he brings to it is that, like, you kind of, at least for me, you understand that what Byron has done. Sorry, I don't mean to, like, Billy, this
Go,
was
go.
I'm feeling like very Kris Jenner-y of you right now, where I'm like, hold on. That, like,
that was a good impression, by the way.
Thank you. He imbues such humanity and like pathos and fear, and it's not just that, like, you understand exactly why Byron thought this was the only way to connect with someone who has never been able to access. And while it is like, you know, I don't know, he brings such humanity to it. So anyway, that's it.
But he put the chip in your brain, and I mean,
Billy,
that's.
It should have been. It's your question. You answer it.
Go ahead, Billy.
I do. I think the roles that people have recognized more have been more assholey and shit like that. But, like, someone's got to play him, and I think no one. The truth is, no one is a villain in their own story, in their own mind. Byron's not the villain here. He's a hero, and, like, every bad guy, they're the hero in their story, and they're trying to do something right. And I think people that can tap into that while attacking asshole characters or something come out more successful because there's a humanity to these people. They're not villains in their lives. But I know it comes off and perceived that way. Yeah, I don't know. I guess people think I'm an asshole, and I don't think I am, but yeah.
You're joking now.
Like,
I mean,
I think that guy was an asshole. He was just a unique individual. I did get Shorty. I didn't think that guy was an asshole. God, do I always play assholes? Oh man. Oh. I've been trying my whole career not to get stereotyped, and now.
But did we just have a breakthrough here? Am I now the psychologist, Billy? I mean, are me and Cristin trying to talk you through your inner demons here?
Oh, yes. Keep going. Trust me, I've talked to many people about my inner demons, and I have a plethora of them. So, yeah.
What do you guys? Well, before we get to I know we're running out of time, but Ray Romano. I mean, we think of Ray as, you know, funny character, hysterical, one of the greatest comedians working today, but he's fantastic in this as well. I mean, you guys want to speak on Ray?
Oh, he's a delight.
Yeah, the best. He's the T. You know, he's a wonderful. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, you go.
He is a fantastic human being, but also he is a fantastic actor. And I am very excited for people to see the sides of him that this show gets to show.
You definitely get to see a side of Ray we haven't seen. And finally, what do you hope fans get from this series? We'll start with Billy.
I just hope they recognize themselves weirdly in this, because, like, I think the humanity of a relationship and the insanity and the absurdity of a relationship, where you're like, oh my God, I got to check in. I have put myself in front of actually my partner and put stuff onto them that they're not actually giving back to me. So weirdly, I hope it breaks down the wall between relationships a little more, and you could recognize and be like, oh, I can see I do some of these things in my own life, and I don't want to do it. I want to listen more. I want to open up more. I want to be more vulnerable and actually deepen my relationships.
Cristin?
I agree. I hope that people see themselves. I think that's a really beautiful way to put it. You know, I think that sort of like back to what I was saying earlier, like the sci-fi dark comedy. I also I think this show sort of defies like categorization at times. And I think that I hope that even in this like heightened, very cool, very singular world, they see themselves and they see their own relationships with their families, with their spouses, with themselves. That would be great.